Hi, thanks for tuning in. I hope you started at episode 1, season 3, at least, so you know what's going on. So, I mentioned that I did not feel real good about the church that I was going to in Atlanta. And after I was going there just about a year or so, the pastor had an affair with one of the teachers in the school that was attached to the church, which was totally devastating, of course, to the whole church. I heard it like a rumor because I was teaching and in the Sabbath school there, and somehow I heard about it. And then they had a business meeting for the real church members, the real, the ones that go to the business meeting anyway. And I went, especially, out of curiosity, want to hear what's going on. But I had just been through that. And that was in my season 2. You need to watch if you haven't watched that, about what I went through with my husband. Was head elder in the church when we had no pastor. We were in transition between pastors. Head elder is in charge of the church, and that was my husband in California. And I went through all that. He had an affair, and that's how I ended up in Atlanta as a single mom. So when I went to business meeting, I heard the whole deal, and I had to stand up and tell them that I've just been through all that. And I told them my story, and I encouraged them, and hopefully it helps some. I kind of felt like, you know, everything's in God's timing. I went to that church. I moved and everything. I mean, I know I didn't get divorced because of this, but the timing of me getting to that church and getting into a certain position in that church when all this happened, you know, that I was the only one that could stand up in that meeting and say, hey, I just came out of the same exact situation, except my church in California was such a tiny little country church, and this was a Atlanta church, um, not real big, a Seventh Day Adventist. It was like, a few hundred every week. It wasn't huge church, no, but way a lot bigger than my little country church. But hopefully, I helped in that situation somehow a little bit, and life goes on. So I also told you that I just got engaged after only 3 weeks dating this guy that I picked out on the dating service. You got to watch my previous episodes. Okay, so um, I didn't tell you that he had sons, and his first son, oldest son, I'll call him Justin. And Justin was only 1 year older than my boys, my twins, and 1 year younger than my daughter. So he fit right in there. And then his other son, I'm going to call him Jerry, and he was same age as the twins, only 7 months younger than the twins. So they were like triplets. When they met after just a couple dates we had, we got the boys together, and they just hit it off immediately, liked each other, started playing together right away, and it was like so perfect, right? But the thing that was really far from perfect was that my daughter was in California with her dad. She had run away from home, and that's also in the previous episode. Um, so when we started dating and started getting to know each other, I gotta look here to my notes, okay? Sorry about that. I don't want to get all mixed up. There's so many different things to remember here, and memory doesn't come so good anymore. That's why I want to do this, to get it all down while I can still remember somewhat, because as I said in the very beginning, I'm going to be 70 in a few months. So, it's time to do this. And I got a disease. I don't expect to be 80 ever. That'll be a miracle if I make that. But not to digress, let's get back. Okay, so once Mark and I'm calling him Mark, um, once we started getting close together, I'm not talking about physically, I'm talking about, you know, we both had it in our intentions that we both wanted to get married. We had joined this dating service, with with the goal of getting married, and both as single parents, so we just didn't waste any time about it. Anyway, we got engaged after 3 weeks. So one of the first things he said to me was, main first thing I want to do for you, I want to get your daughter back. Got to get your daughter back. And I don't remember how he did it, how we did it. I don't know if she was ready to come back, if her dad, who had her there in California, I don't know if he was ready to send her back, or if Mark talked to him, or if I just talked to him. I don't remember. I'm sure Mark paid for the ticket to come back, though, no doubt about that. And she came back, and we went to pick her up at the airport, and she and Mark just got along immediately, just like I did with him. He had such a great, he was a salesman. He had that great personality, and he had a very uh oh, how do I say it? He wasn't the high pressure type of salesman. He's very oh gee, I don't even know how to say it right now. I'm sorry, but not the high pressure type. Just really nice, that you just like him right away and you kind of believe him right away. And he's very convincing. His whole personality and demeanor and everything like that. He's not intimidating. Um, uh, I get he could be in the wrong situation, but when he meets people and you get to know him and all, people like him. So she did, and he liked her right away. Now, he didn't have a daughter, so she became the princess in the family, right? Because she was the only girl. And so I also mentioned in the previous episode, I think 2 episodes previous, that when I was living alone, um, after I got engaged and after got my daughter back, we had a break-in, and my one son was assaulted and freaked us out, of course. We were all scared to stay in that apartment alone anymore. So that night, we all went to Mark's house and stayed there. And that was it. Never went back. Never went back to my apartment alone again. And we just decided to speed up the wedding. And so we decided we need to look for a house. And we found a house that we loved nearby there. It was in Roswell, Cobb County, right on the border of Marietta. Very affluent area with millionaires, I would say, not billionaires, millionaires. And the Tritt family, Travis Tritt family lived there. Things were named after him, right where we lived. And Newt Gingrich, the famous Republican, he was right down the street around the corner, lived there with his wife. Like I say, very affluent, beautiful neighborhood. Had a lake. They called it a lake. It's like more like a pond, but a small lake. And one day, so the day when we decided we loved this house, we took a walk around that lake, and he wanted to tell me about his past. Um, and he told me everything, including that he had had an affair with uh, a woman when he was married. He was previously married and divorced like me, but he had an affair and had a child another son who was about four, 4 or 5 years old at this time, and he was paying child support, but did not have much of a relationship with the little boy. So I accepted that. We talked about my faith, told him that I needed him to respect my faith. Now, he was brought up Baptist, not strict. He didn't go to church. He was baptized when he was 12, like they do. He told me he was a believer, but he wasn't really, active in his faith as far as church or anything goes. And I told him that I was very active in my faith and that um, I needed him to respect that I kept Sabbath, being a Seventh-day Adventist, which was kind of strange. Um, I told him I don't work on Saturday. I don't do housework on Saturday. I don't go shopping on Saturday. I believe that it's a day to rest away from the rest of the week, a day to take a break from all the stress of the rest of the week, a day to reserve for family and to appreciate creation, to get out in nature and have a quiet, peaceful day of worship and praise and family and all that kind of nice stuff. And he thought it was awesome. He liked the idea. He said, that all sounds good with me. So we agreed that that's the way our household was going to be. I also talked about the vegetarian thing because I was mostly vegetarian, but I had started eating some meat when I started working full time because it's hard to be vegetarian when you eat out. At least it was worse back then. It's better now. There's more options available because there's more people doing it. But I was just tired of eating salad and baked potato every time I had to buy lunch. So I started eating a sandwich, and give me a chicken sandwich, turkey sandwich, give me a cheeseburger or something, So I was doing that at lunchtime, but at home, I never had meat in the house with my kids. And I told him that I preferred it that way and that I didn't like cooking meat. And that if he wanted to cook meat, go ahead, cook meat. But I'm a good vegetarian cook and I, you know, will do that part in my meals. So he was okay with that. And I did start drinking some wine also after I moved to Atlanta. Just, dating and all. I started drinking a little bit of wine. I didn't at home with the kids, but when I went out on the date, that was the only time. So, and he liked to drink. He drank wine, especially red wine at night. Um, so I was okay with that. Um, so we had moved into his house that he was renting, and we were going to buy the other house. When we moved in, I got to mention there was a break-in at his house. After we moved there because there was a break-in, then there was a break-in at his house, right? So we figured out, of course, we called the police and everything. They stole a few things and took hinges off the door and stuff, but it seemed like somebody knew the place, knew exactly what they wanted, and took what they wanted. And we figured out it was probably like a friend of a friend who had been in the house of these teenage kids that we had, right? Um, anyway, the police found our stuff in the trunk of a car. So they knew who it was, and it was like a friend of a friend, like we thought. Well, we thought it might have been a friend of the kids, but it turned out not to be a friend of the kids, but a friend of a friend. Like somebody had told them that they knew this house that had this stuff, right? And that's what happened. And one of the things they stole was my class ring from high school, and I got it back. So that was pretty cool. That was the most valuable thing to me, just for, a memory, keepsake. Our TV, I think, and different things, doesn't matter anyway. Got it back. By the way, Mark was the first person I ever knew who had a cell phone. and he had it and mostly used it in his car, and it was one of those great big ones, looked like a walkie-talkie. Yeah, that was the first one that I knew of. And let's see, so we moved into this beautiful home that we got. I gotta tell you another thing though. I don't even remember if we moved into the house right after we got married or right before we got married. But what I do remember is that the first time we had sex, um, the next day I go to work, right? It wasn't on our honeymoon, I admit. It was before the honeymoon. I mean, we lived together for a couple weeks, no, a couple months. Okay, got engaged 3 weeks after our first date, okay? And we did not have sex before we got engaged, for sure. We got married 4 months after our first date. So started dating in May, got married in September. And sometime during that time, first time we had sex anyway. Next day I go to work and I get a dozen red roses delivered to my desk. And wow, I got embarrassed because, I knew why, because we had a special night the night before. And it was funny because my coworkers, they're like, "Oh, is it your anniversary? No. It's your birthday? No. Well, what is it?" I didn't know what to say. I just blushed. Anyway. But that was so sweet. What a gesture. Classy guy, I gotta say. So, I gotta tell you about this beautiful home that we bought and moved into. And again, I don't remember if it was before or after the marriage. I'll tell you about the house, then I'll tell you about the wedding if I have time. Maybe I'll tell you about the wedding first. That's the proper way, right? Because anyway, wedding. His aunt lived in Florida and had a home with some acreage, and we got married there because she was a notary public, which in Florida they're allowed to marry people. So we let her do that, and I got to want to mention, I doubt if she's watching, but I was very honored when she friended me on Facebook. Um, the daughter, which is Mark's cousin, um, she uh, is a famous person, very famous person in Atlanta, and more than that, I'm sure. And Mark helped her a little bit in the beginning of her college, and unfortunately, we had to stop that when he got married to me because, our family doubled his. So he couldn't help her anymore. Maybe he did that I don't know of, but I thought we couldn't afford it, you know. So, but God bless her, she did well with or without his help, and she's has one of the most awesome careers I ever knew. And beautiful home we got. Okay, so it was a 4-bedroom house, and when you walk in, I got to tell you though, we improved it and built on to make it a 8-bedroom house. So when you go in the front door, there's a living room. All the rooms were very big. And living room, we had like mint green carpet, dark green furniture, very pretty. And then there was the formal dining room. Uh, we bought a big mahogany table, and it was one piece of solid wood. The top of it was one piece of solid wood, table for 8, um, with red velvet chairs, dark red velvet chairs, and we bought uh, beautiful everything, furniture and stuff. Anyway, there was a curved picture window in the dining room, and Mark and the boys built a koi pond outside the window. It was lit up with flowers and fountain, and really pretty. So when we ate out there, we could look at that view. And then there was a nice big kitchen, and off the kitchen in the back of the house was a great big family room that was a porch enclosed with windows all the way around. And we had the casual eating table and the sofa and the TV out there, and the nice big backyard. And then we had a 2-bedroom garage, and there was a bathroom there. And then there was stairs off the kitchen that went up to the suite where my daughter had that. So she had her own bathroom, and she was up there apart from the boys. And then downstairs in the basement, we finished the basement and made 4 big bedrooms. So each one of the boys had their own bedroom. We built a bathroom and a gym down there, and bought gym equipment and mirrored wall, and then that opened up to the outdoors. And then upstairs there was, oh, our master was on the main floor also, and we had a big deck that um, was off the master and beautiful. And of course we had our bathroom. And then upstairs, there was 2 more bedrooms, and we made one into an office. And I started working from home a lot, working at the Holiday Inn Worldwide. They gave me a laptop. They put in ISDN line, which that was the thing back in those days. ISDN line, so I could have access to the network. And I worked from home. I was a pioneer of telecommuting. Uh, Holiday Inn, because we were anticipating the Olympics coming to Atlanta, they sent us out. I was among the first sent out to work from home, and as an experiment, because they wanted us to be able to do that to avoid the gridlock traffic during the Olympics. And this was 1993. And so I was working from home about 3 days a week, I think. They gave us an allowance for office furniture, like $700 to buy office furniture, and gave us laptops, and it was awesome. I was living the life. And I think I'm going to stop here, and then I'll have to tell about the wedding next time because my time's up. Thanks for watching. Catch up if you are a little lost or you want to know more about what happened recently. And if you subscribe, you won't miss anything because you can always click on my channel and everything's out there. I think you have to double click to get them all in order. So know that, and subscribe. Thanks for watching. God bless.